Great, so we're out today to start Finne. It's about 50 kilometre, full loop, just a kind of awkward circle shape. It is kind of middle of Donegal. We're still south of Dunglow and Letterkenny, but we're kind of halfway between the two. Yeah, we actually don't know a huge amount about this trail. We just finished Kill last night. We collapsed for a few hours and now we got a bus up to Fintown to start this trail. So that's about all the information we have really. Hopefully it won't take more than 2 days or so, 2 to 3 days, and yeah, that's it. Great. So, when was the last time that we saw the rain, Basta? Or just saw rain, not the rain. On Tuesday. No, okay, so it's been 8 days of no rain. We have not seen rain in 8 days. It's been amazing. But this area clearly has seen rain recently because this bog is very, very boggy. It is definitely back to bog. If it even got to dry out. So because it's been so dry, we were really, really lucky on the Blue Stack Way and the Kill, because the bog was like super passable. It was so easy. We've never crossed bog so easily with as dry feet as we had. So it's kind of harsh reality coming back to really wet, slow moving bog.
So Ireland has a very deep connection with the bog. It's been a really important part of being Irish for forever pretty much. It covers a very large portion of Ireland's landscape. But I swear to God, when we're finished doing all this walking, I never ever want to see a bog again. It makes for such slow walking. We have like 5 kilometers across bog here and we've already been going for an hour and a half and we're like halfway through. It's so slow and so rocky and sore, or not rocky but like rutted and hard, and then really, really wet in like the one spot that you decided to trust with your foot, and then suddenly your entire leg is, I'm just so sick of it, and it's full of midges and ticks. And there's so much of it. And I'm hungry and tired. Did you hear my stomach from there? It was agreeing with me. So this is now going to be called Tough Souls and Paws. Oh my god, so we've already said thank you to Leah for meeting us on the Kill, but like double thank you to Leah for meeting us on the Finne and allowing us to walk our dog. It's always good. Yeah, huge thank you. So it looks like we're about halfway through this trail. We're a bit wrecked, so there she is. Yeah, this is basically the end for us for the day. I'm going to finish it off tomorrow. It was fine today, but very boggy. Very, very boggy. Someone's excited. Okay. Okay, we're gonna attempt to do day 2 of the Finne. It is forecast to be extremely stormy today, and it looks it, and windy and rainy and everything. So we're just gonna see how far we can get. The trail yesterday was pretty good. I'm lying. The trail yesterday was like really boggy, and it took us a lot to get over. It was saved. We saw some deer. That was great. That helped, but yeah, it was pretty boggy, and I'm worried that today is going to be the same. We met a farmer on the way down who said that we were the first people he'd ever seen on the trail, which, yeah, it kind of feels that way. It feels a little unmaintained, so far anyway. But the views have been great. Everything looks quite nice. It's kind of annoying, it's not really wet enough to actually have the jacket on and the rain cover and everything, but it is wet enough to not like have my camera out in the rain, so I have to have a jacket because I have no waterproof pockets. This bit of river walking has been really nice. The river over there is the Finne. No, that's the trail. The river over there is the Finn River, or the, I guess, Erin na Finn. That's what this whole trail is about. This whole area is the Finn Valley. So we've been kind of walking inside of the floodplains for a while now. I think we're lucky that it hasn't rained like crazy yet, because I definitely feel like this area would be susceptible to like a flash flood. So I'm gonna just try and move on before that happens so that we don't drown. It's wet out. It's really, really wet. Wet. Rainy. Wet. So we're in a little shrine. The Blessed Virgin Mary is right there. There's like €30 in coins here. I actually added €2 to it because we didn't die on the previous mountain that we just went over. So, not really religious, but just saying, this might have been all the people who didn't die, and I don't want to be the first not to do it. The weather is horrendous, so our options right now are to walk over a mountain or walk along an R road, like a regional road, for about an hour. And I think we came to the decision to walk along the road rather than the mountain because, I mean, it's hard to get across just how bad the weather is. It's extremely bad, and we could literally die on the mountain. And at least if we die on the road, we have someone to blame. So I'm being really positive because I'm wet and cold. So you can probably hear the rain. We, for a long time, didn't want to go to Donegal because we thought that the weather was going to be like difficult, and it was actually perfectly good for the first 2 weeks or so. But we have 2 trails left, and it has turned, and now it's just rainy all the time, and windy and stormy. So the Finne Finne was fine. I think it was actually a little bit less than fine. I'd probably call it a 4.5 out of 10.
Oh, I don't know. I don't.
It's probably just because the weather was so poor for our second day of it.
Yeah.
That I have.
I think if I try and block the weather out of my head, it's like a 6. Because there are some beautiful views, like around where we took shelter in the grotto.
Yeah.
Like if you think about all that landscape, that was really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And around Finn Lake was incredibly beautiful.
Loch Finn, you mean?
Yes, around Loch Finn.
Yes.
We just happened to be out there as a storm was rolling in.
Yeah, that's true. The views are great, and the landscape is lovely. There's a bit too much bog walking, but then I've just now complained about a different trail for being too road heavy, so the bog sections could really use some boardwalk or some sort of plastic something for people to walk on,
or just a clear route really would make a big difference, I think.
There actually is some plastic laid down for you to walk on. It's just underneath like 3 or 4 inches of bog. So
yeah, we found so at one point. It was like really old.
But there are really nice views. The landscape is quite pretty. There's a section where you walk along the remnants of a train track between.
It's as you're coming down, kind of parallel to Cloughan before you go into the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Just along there.
Good.
Yeah, that was very nice.
That's probably the highlight of the trail actually for me. Is that segment.
We saw deer.
Yeah, we saw deer. Yeah.
They were big deer as well.
I like there are deer tracks everywhere.
Yeah, we were definitely following deer tracks through that bog.
Mm-hmm. Bring tick tweezers.
I caught one crawling across my hand.
Yeah, ticks are no good. Don't. Just be careful.
I think it ended up being was it the 50-ish kilometers that we thought it was?
Yeah, I would definitely call it even a little bit more actually.
Because just over the 50 kilometers.
Yeah, I think it's probably like 53, 54 kilometers. The stages we did were from Fintown to Cloughan, which was a relatively short amount of walking, but we started quite late in the day because the bus got us in quite late. And then we did the section from Cloughan through to just outside of Fintown, which is where we stayed. Hi Meadowsfield Hostel, thanks for having us stay, it was great, highly recommended.
Yes.
It was actually so good that we stayed there an extra day. And then we walked 5 kilometres into Fintown on our last day. Again, I think the off-road sections are a little unmaintained. They could probably use some work. But this trail has a good amount of those sections. So that was nice. I definitely, on the Donegal trails, have wished for a car more often than I usually do.
I think that's partially because the weather here is so volatile. Because you're right on the coast of such a big ocean and you're quite far north and it's very kind of windswept landscape. The weather kind of rolls in very fast or changes from one extreme to the other, and it can be hard to mentally balance the extreme sunshine and then the hailstones.
So what's the final rating that we're giving this? Okay, yeah, we'll call it a 5.8. 6? 5.9? I think with a bit of maintenance this one could be really good. It just needs a little bit of looking after.
As always, we want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons, especially this week to Werner and to Stefan and Erica. Thank you so much for helping us keep going on this journey. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we really do.
Make sure to like, comment and subscribe to keep up to date with all of our goings on. We're on every social media
Yes, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube,
to
as you know.
all of our detriment.
Yes. We spend a lot of our time doing that stuff, so just please validate that time that we spent.
Oh, we're supposed to spend all of our time outdoors.
I know, that's why it's necessary that people validate all of the time that we spend otherwise on social medias. Hashtag of souls.
I'll turn it off now, shall I?
Yeah, go for it.